Elena Vasquez stepped off the shuttle and onto the metal floor of Harmony Station. The air smelled clean and recycled, nothing like the fresh air of Earth. She took a deep breath and looked around at her new surroundings. The station was huge. The ceiling stretched high above her head, and the walls curved away in both directions. Everything was white and silver, polished until it gleamed under bright lights. It looked like something from a dream. Elena carried a small bag with her personal items and a data pad with her speech. She had practiced the words 1,000 times. This was the most important day in human history. She was the first human ever invited to speak to the Galactic Council. It had taken 3 years of careful talks to get this invitation. The aliens had been afraid. Elena understood why. Humans came from Earth, and Earth was not a nice place by galactic standards. A tall, thin alien approached her. It had blue skin and 4 arms. When it spoke, a small device on its chest turned the words into English. "Ambassador Vasquez," the alien said. "I am Guide Kellen. I will show you to your rooms." Elena smiled and nodded. "Thank you, Kellen. I am honored to be here." Kellen started walking, and Elena followed. As they moved through the corridors, Elena noticed other aliens. They all stared at her. Some quickly looked away when she noticed them watching. A group of crystal-like beings saw her coming and quickly moved into a side passage. Their bodies made musical sounds as they walked like wind chimes in a breeze. Elena thought it was beautiful, but they seemed afraid of her. Further down the hall, she saw floating clouds of gas inside clear suits. These were the Nethians she remembered from her briefings. When they saw her, the gas in their suits turned from blue to red. Elena had read that red meant fear or alarm. Even the reptile-like aliens, who were supposed to be warriors, kept their distance. They had scales and sharp teeth, but they watched her like she was a dangerous animal. Elena found this funny rather than sad. She knew why they were afraid. The galactic file said Earth was a Category 7 death world. Most aliens thought her home planet was barely fit for life. Earth had 3 times the gravity of most alien worlds. The air would burn the lungs of many species. The plants and animals were always fighting each other. To the gentle aliens of the galaxy, Earth seemed like a nightmare. But Elena was not here to fight. She carried medicine formulas that could help sick aliens. She had plans for new farming methods that could feed hungry worlds. Humans wanted to be friends with the galaxy, not enemies. "Your quarters are here," Kellen said, stopping at a door marked with human symbols. "You have 6 hours before your presentation to the council." The room was simple but comfortable. The bed was too soft for Elena's taste, but she had slept in worse places. She set down her bag and looked out the window at the stars. 3 years ago, humans had first contacted the galaxy. The aliens had been shocked to find intelligent life on such a dangerous world. They had been even more shocked when they learned about human history. Humans had been fighting wars for thousands of years. They had built weapons that could destroy entire cities. They had survived ice ages, plagues, and natural disasters that would have wiped out most alien species. The galactic computers had run calculations on human military power. The results had scared the aliens so much that many wanted to destroy Earth before humans could become a threat. But some aliens had been curious instead of afraid. They had studied human art, music, and literature. They had learned that humans were not just warriors. Humans could create beauty as well as destruction. These curious aliens had convinced the council to give humans a chance. 1 human would be allowed to speak to the council. If the speech went well, maybe humans could join the galactic community. Elena opened her datapad and read her speech again. She had written it carefully, with help from alien diplomats. Every word had been chosen to show that humans were peaceful and helpful. She talked about human medicine. Humans had learned to cure diseases that killed other species. She described human farming. Humans could grow food in places where other aliens would starve. The speech was full of facts and numbers. It was boring but safe. Elena wanted to show that humans were smart and useful, not dangerous. A soft chime sounded in her room. It was time to get ready. Elena put on her best clothes. She wore a simple blue dress that represented Earth's oceans and sky. On her chest, she wore a small pin with the symbol of the United Nations. She looked at herself in the mirror. She was 45 years old with gray streaks in her black hair. Her brown eyes were calm and confident. She had been a diplomat for 20 years. She had negotiated with angry governments and hostile groups. This was just another day at work. But as she left her room and walked toward the council chamber, Elena felt the weight of history on her shoulders. Every human on Earth was counting on her. If she failed, humanity might be cut off from the galaxy forever. The corridors seemed longer now. Elena passed more aliens as she walked. Some whispered to each other as she went by. Others took pictures with strange devices. A few even seemed excited to see her. One small alien with purple fur ran up to her. It was only as tall as Elena's waist. Human. Human, it squeaked in broken English. You are real. My clutch sibling said humans were just stories. Elena knelt down to talk to the small alien. I am very real, she said gently. What is your name? I am Pip, the alien said. Are you really from the scary death world? Elena laughed. I am from Earth, yes. But it is not so scary when you know how to live there. Will you tell me stories about Earth? Pip asked. Maybe later, Elena said. Right now I have to give a very important speech. Pip's eyes grew wide. You are the human who talks to the big council. Good luck, human Elena. Elena smiled as she stood up. At least one alien was not afraid of her. Guide Kellan appeared at her side. It is time, Ambassador, he said. Elena followed Kellan through a massive door. The council chamber opened up before her like a vast cave. The ceiling was so high she could barely see it. Floating platforms filled the space, each one holding different types of aliens. Elena could see creatures of every shape and size. Some looked like plants. Others seemed to be made of light. A few were so strange that Elena could not even guess what they were. In the center of the chamber was a platform with a speaking podium. That was where Elena would give her speech. Her platform was near the edge of the chamber, showing that humans were new and unimportant. Elena noticed the security measures right away. Energy fields shimmered around her platform. Drones hovered nearby, watching her every move. Medical teams waited in the wings, ready for emergencies. The aliens were taking no chances with the dangerous human. Council Speaker Thymel stood on the highest platform. She was a bird-like alien with beautiful feathers that changed color when she moved. Her voice was musical when she spoke. Members of the Galactic Council, Thymel said. Today we make history. For the first time, a representative from the Deathworld Earth will address our assembly. The chamber fell silent. Elena could feel thousands of alien eyes watching her. Some seemed curious. Others looked afraid. A few appeared hostile. Elena took a deep breath and stepped toward the speaking platform. She had practiced this moment many times. She knew exactly what to say. She just hoped she would get the chance to say it. The council chamber was the most amazing thing Elena had ever seen. The room was shaped like a giant ball with no real floor or ceiling. Platforms floated in the air at different levels, each one holding a different alien species. Elena counted 47 platforms. Each one represented a member of the Galactic Council. The platforms were different sizes and shapes, built for the needs of each species. Some had water for the fish-like aliens. Others had special air for creatures that breathed different gases. Her own platform was small and plain, near the outer edge of the chamber. It was the spot for new species who might join the council. Elena did not mind being far from the center. She was just happy to be here. The platform moved slowly through the air, carrying her toward the speaking area in the middle of the chamber. Elena looked around at all the different aliens as she passed. On one platform, she saw beings that looked like walking trees. Their leaves rustled even though there was no wind. On another platform, creatures made of liquid metal flowed and changed shape as they watched her. The strangest aliens were on a platform that seemed to be made of pure energy. Elena could not even tell what they looked like. They appeared as bright lights that moved in patterns she could not understand. All of them were watching her. Elena felt like an animal in a zoo, council speaker. Thymel's voice filled the chamber. We begin with the traditional greetings, she announced. Each member species will acknowledge our visitor from Earth. One by one, the platforms lit up as each species spoke. Most of them used the same formal words. They welcomed Elena to the chamber and said they hoped for peaceful relations, but Elena could hear the fear in their voices, even through the translation devices. Some species spoke quickly, like they wanted to get it over with. Others spoke so quietly she could barely hear them. The crystal beings made beautiful ringing sounds when they spoke. The gas creatures whistled and hummed. The tree-like aliens rustled their leaves in what Elena hoped was a friendly way. When it was her turn to respond, Elena stood up carefully. The platform was steady, but she did not want to make any sudden movements that might scare the aliens. Thank you for this honor, she said. Her voice was translated into dozens of different languages and sent to all the platforms. I bring greetings from all humans on Earth. We hope to learn from you and share what we know with you. Elena noticed that many aliens moved back when she spoke. Even her calm, diplomatic words seemed to frighten them. She tried to make her voice even softer and gentler. The formal greetings took almost an hour. Elena used the time to study the security measures around her. They were much more serious than she had first thought. Her platform was surrounded by an invisible energy field. Elena could not see it, but she could feel the tingling in the air. If she tried to leave the platform, the field would stop her. 6 different types of weapons were pointed at her from hidden spots around the chamber. Elena recognized some of them from human military files. Others were alien designs she did not know. Medical teams floated on small platforms near the chamber walls. Elena could see at least 3 different alien doctors, each one ready to treat injuries from their own species. They all wore protective suits and carried emergency equipment. Drones flew silently through the air above the chamber. Some were for security, others for recording the historic event. A few seemed to be studying Elena herself, scanning her with invisible beams. Elena found all this both amusing and sad. The aliens were so afraid of one human diplomat that they had turned the council chamber into a fortress. But she understood their fear. Elena had read the reports about Earth that the aliens had written. To them, her homeworld sounded like a place where only monsters could live. Earth had gravity 3 times stronger than most alien worlds. The air was full of oxygen, which many aliens found poisonous. The temperature changed constantly, and dangerous radiation from the sun reached the ground. Worse than the planet itself were the creatures that lived on it. Earth was full of predators that hunted and killed other animals. Plants that were poisonous or had thorns and spines, bacteria and viruses that could kill in days. And then there were humans themselves. The aliens had studied human history and found thousands of years of wars. Humans had built weapons that could destroy entire cities. They had invented new ways to kill each other almost every generation. From an alien point of view, humans were the most dangerous creatures ever discovered. The fact that they had somehow become intelligent and built spaceships only made them more terrifying. Elena knew all this, but she also knew the other side of the story. Humans were dangerous, yes, but they were also capable of great kindness. They had created art and music and literature. They had learned to heal the sick and feed the hungry. That was what Elena was here to show the galaxy. Humans were not monsters. They were people who had learned to survive in a dangerous world and use their strength to help others. Finally, it was time for her speech. Council Speaker Thymel's feathers changed to a bright gold color as she announced Elena's turn to speak. The council will now hear from Ambassador Elena Vasquez, representing the species known as humans from the world called Earth. Elena's platform began to move toward the center of the chamber. As it moved, more security measures activated. Additional energy fields appeared around other platforms, protecting the aliens from the dangerous human. Elena reached the speaking platform and stepped onto it. The platform was larger than her own, with a podium in the center and lights that made her visible to every alien in the chamber. For a moment, Elena just stood there and looked around at all the watching aliens. Some leaned forward with curiosity. Others seemed ready to run away at the first sign of trouble. Elena took her data pad from her pocket and set it on the podium. She had practiced this speech so many times that she could probably give it without reading, but she wanted to be sure she got every word right. She looked up at the thousands of aliens watching her and smiled. Elena had given speeches to angry crowds before. She had negotiated with people who wanted to kill her. This was just another audience, even if they were not human. Members of the Galactic Council, Elena began. I am honored to be the first human to speak in this chamber. I come to you today not as a warrior from a death world, but as a friend who wants to help build a better galaxy for all of us. Elena's voice was clear and strong. The translation devices carried her words to every platform in the chamber. She could see aliens listening carefully, some taking notes with strange devices. Earth may be a dangerous world, Elena continued, but it has taught us valuable lessons. We have learned to cure diseases that kill millions. We have learned to grow food in places where nothing should be able to live. We have learned to work together even when we disagree. Elena was feeling confident now. The speech was going exactly as planned. The aliens seemed to be listening without panic. Maybe this would work after all. Humans want to share what we have learned, Elena said. We want to help heal the sick and feed the hungry throughout the galaxy. We want to be your partners in building a peaceful future. Elena paused and looked around the chamber. Everything was going perfectly. She had been speaking for exactly 10 seconds. That was when the maintenance drone malfunctioned. The maintenance drone was small and usually invisible. It floated high above the council chamber, quietly checking the air systems and lights. No one ever paid attention to it, but something went wrong. The drone started spinning wildly, sparks flying from its damaged circuits. A loud, sharp alarm came from its speakers. Red warning lights flashed on its metal body. Elena looked up and saw the problem immediately. The drone was falling toward a group of platforms on the far side of the chamber. The platforms held the ethereals, the most delicate species in the galaxy. The ethereals looked like butterflies made of glass. Their wings were so thin that Elena could see through them. Their bodies were fragile and light. Even a small impact could kill them. The falling drone was heading straight for their platforms. Elena did not think. She just acted. On Earth, Elena had grown up in the mountains of Peru. The gravity was strong and the air was thin. She had learned to climb rocks and jump across streams. Her reflexes were fast and her muscles were strong. Without thinking about it, Elena launched herself from the speaking platform. The jump was impossible by galactic standards. Elena flew through the air like she had wings. She moved faster than most aliens could even see. Her body twisted and turned as she calculated the best path to intercept the drone. Elena caught the spinning drone with one hand. Her fingers closed around its metal body and stopped its wild spinning. The alarm went quiet. The spark stopped flying, but Elena was still flying through the air with no way to stop. She looked around quickly and saw an empty platform nearby. She twisted her body and used her momentum to change direction, landing softly on the platform like a cat. The whole thing took less than 3 seconds. The council chamber exploded into chaos. The ethereals thought they were under attack. Their species had evolved to release chemical clouds when threatened. Suddenly, the air around their platforms turned purple with paralysis gas. The crystal beings shattered into defensive formations, their bodies ringing like alarm bells. The liquid metal aliens flowed into sharp weapon-like shapes. The tree creatures extended thorny branches in all directions. Panic spread from platform to platform. Aliens who had never seen anything move so fast thought Elena was attacking them. Some tried to run. Others activated their own defensive systems. Emergency alarms started blaring throughout the station. Red lights flashed everywhere. The calm, peaceful council chamber turned into a war zone in seconds. Security to council chamber. A voice boomed over the speakers. Deathworlder Containment Protocol 7. All units respond immediately. Elena stood on the empty platform, still holding the broken drone. She looked around at the chaos and felt confused. She had just tried to help. Why was everyone so scared? More alarms joined the first ones. Elena heard heavy footsteps running through the corridors outside the chamber. Security forces were coming, and they were coming fast. The energy fields around Elena's original platform expanded and moved toward her new position. The invisible barrier started surrounding the empty platform where she stood. "Wait," Elena said into her microphone. "I was just trying to catch the drone." The ethereals were in danger, but her words only seemed to make things worse. The aliens heard her voice and panicked more. Some species had never heard a human speak in person before. Elena's voice sounded loud and strong compared to their gentle whispers. The doors to the council chamber burst open. Security teams poured in wearing heavy armor and carrying weapons Elena had never seen before. Some of the guards were robots. Others were aliens from warrior species. At the front of the group was Chief Security Officer Krath. He was from a species that looked like walking rocks with glowing eyes. His armor was black metal covered in spikes and sensors. "Human," Krath shouted. "Do not move. Do not speak. Remain exactly where you are." Elena raised her hands to show she was not holding any weapons. The broken drone fell from her fingers and clattered on the platform floor. "I am not a threat," she said calmly. "I was trying to help." "Silence," Krath commanded. "You have violated 17 different safety protocols. You have caused a diplomatic incident. You have terrified half the galaxy." More security forces surrounded Elena's platform. Weapons that could stun or paralyze were pointed at her from every direction. Elena noticed that some of the weapons were specifically designed for humans. The aliens had been preparing for this possibility. Medical teams rushed to check on the ethereals. The gas-like aliens were given emergency treatments to counteract their own defensive chemicals. Other species were examined for injuries caused by their panic reactions. Elena felt terrible. She had come here to show that humans were peaceful and helpful. Instead, she had caused the biggest security crisis in Council history. Council Speaker Thymol's voice cut through the chaos. Her beautiful feathers had turned dark gray with stress. "Clear the chamber," she ordered. "All non-essential personnel evacuate immediately." The platforms holding alien diplomats began moving toward the exits. Many aliens were still shaking with fear. Others stared at Elena like she was a monster from their worst nightmares. Little Pip, the purple alien Elena had met in the corridor, was on one of the platforms leaving the chamber. The small alien looked confused and scared. Elena felt even worse when she saw Pip's frightened face. Elena had destroyed everything in 3 seconds. Months of careful planning, years of negotiations, and decades of human dreams about joining the galaxy were all ruined because she had tried to catch a falling drone. "Human Elena Vasquez," Chief Krath said formally, "by the authority of the Galactic Council, you are under detention for causing a diplomatic incident, violating safety protocols, and demonstrating uncontrolled Deathworlder behavior." Energy fields closed around Elena like a cage. The platform began moving toward a side exit away from the main chamber. Elena could see where they were taking her, to the detention levels deep inside the station. As Elena was escorted out of the chamber, she heard aliens talking in dozens of different languages. The translation devices picked up fragments of their conversations. "Did you see how fast it moved? Impossible reflexes. No wonder they call it a Deathworlder. The calculations were right. Humans are too dangerous. We should have destroyed their world when we had the chance." Elena closed her eyes and tried not to cry. She had failed humanity before she even finished her speech. The galaxy would never trust humans now. Behind her, maintenance crews were already cleaning up the mess. The broken drone was collected for analysis. The platforms were checked for damage. The air systems worked to clear the chemical clouds left by the panicked aliens. But Elena knew that some damage could not be repaired so easily. The fear in the aliens' eyes, the panic in their voices, the way they looked at her like she was a monster, those things would last much longer than any physical damage. Elena had proven exactly what the aliens expected. Humans were dangerous. Even when they tried to help, they only made things worse. The platform carrying Elena disappeared through a heavily armored door. The council chamber slowly returned to normal. But nothing would ever be the same again. In trying to save the ethereals from a falling drone, Elena had instead convinced the galaxy that humans were everything they feared. The irony was bitter. Elena had used her human reflexes and strength to protect innocent aliens from harm, but to the galaxy, her protective instincts looked exactly like the aggressive behavior they had been expecting from a Deathworlder. As the detention center door closed behind her, Elena wondered if humanity would ever get another chance. The detention center was not what Elena expected. Instead of a dark prison cell, she found herself in a comfortable room with soft lighting and a bed. There was even a small kitchen with food that humans could eat safely. Elena realized that the aliens had designed this place specifically for holding humans. They had studied human needs and made sure their prisoner would be comfortable. It showed how much planning had gone into preparing for this day. The walls were thick and covered with sensors. Elena could feel the energy fields humming around the room. She was trapped, but at least she was trapped in luxury. Elena sat on the bed and put her head in her hands. Everything had gone wrong so quickly. One moment she was giving a careful, peaceful speech. The next moment she was flying through the air, causing panic throughout the galaxy. She had replayed the incident in her mind dozens of times. The drone falling toward the ethereals, her instant decision to jump, the way she had caught the drone and landed safely on the platform. To Elena, it seemed like a normal response. She saw people in danger and acted to protect them. Any human would have done the same thing, but she was beginning to understand that what seemed normal to humans was terrifying to everyone else. A soft chime sounded in the room. The door opened and Council Speaker Thymol entered, followed by Chief Security Officer Krath. Both aliens looked nervous about being in the same room as Elena. "Ambassador Vasquez," Thymol said, Her voice was still musical, but Elena could hear the stress underneath. "We need to talk." Elena stood up slowly, making sure not to move too quickly. "I am sorry about what happened," she said. "I was only trying to help." "We know," Krath said. His rock-like face showed no expression, but his glowing eyes seemed less hostile than before. "That is what makes this situation so complicated." Thymel activated a holographic display in the air between them. It showed Elena's jump broken down into slow motion, frame by frame. Elena watched herself leap from the platform, catch the drone, and land safely. "This took 2.7 seconds, Thymel explained. "In that time, you assessed a threat, calculated a trajectory, moved faster than our sensors could track, and executed a perfect rescue operation." Krath pointed to different parts of the recording. "The kinetic energy you generated was equivalent to a small missile. The precision of your movement was beyond what our best military units can achieve. The speed of your decision-making was faster than our computers." Elena watched the recording with new eyes. When she looked at it this way, she could see why the aliens were so frightened. Her movement did look like an attack, even though she had been trying to help. "You must understand," Thymel continued. "What you just did is physically impossible for 46 of the 47 Council species. The only other species capable of such movement are the Kythera, and they are our most feared military force." Elena remembered reading about the Kythera in her briefings. They were warrior aliens who served as the galaxy's police force. They were respected but also feared because of their fighting abilities. "To most council members," Krath explained, "you just demonstrated that humans have military capabilities beyond anything in the galaxy. Your reflexes, your strength, your speed, they all suggest that humans are living weapons." Elena felt sick. "But I was protecting the ethereals," she said. "I would never hurt innocent people." "We know that now," Thymel said gently. "But you must understand how it looked to the Council. A Deathworlder with no warning suddenly moved like lightning to intercept what they thought was a random malfunction." Krath pulled up another display. This one showed Elena's biological readings during the incident. "Your heart rate barely changed," he said, with something like awe in his voice. "Your stress levels remained normal. To you, catching a falling object while flying through the air was as natural as breathing." Elena studied the displays and began to understand the problem. The aliens were not just afraid of what humans could do. They were afraid because humans made it look so easy. "We have been studying human military history," Thymel said quietly. "Your species has been at war for its entire recorded existence. You have developed weapons and tactics that could devastate star systems. You have survived catastrophes that would destroy entire civilizations." Elena nodded. "That is all true," she admitted. "But you're only looking at one side of human nature, are we?" Krath asked. "Show us the other side." Elena thought about how to explain. "Humans are dangerous because we had to be," she said. "Earth tried to kill us every day for millions of years. We learned to fight because we had to fight to survive." She stood up and walked to the window. Outside, she could see the peaceful corridors of Harmony Station. Aliens moved slowly and carefully, going about their daily business in safety. "But we also learned to protect each other," Elena continued. "When I saw that drone falling toward the ethereals, I did not think about showing off human abilities. I thought about innocent people who needed help." Thymel's feathers shifted to a softer color. "But how can we tell the difference?" she asked. "How can we know when humans are protecting and when they are attacking?" Elena turned back to face the aliens. "You study our actions, not our capabilities," she said. "Look at what I actually did. I caught the drone. I prevented harm. I did not hurt anyone." Krath's glowing eyes dimmed slightly, which Elena had learned meant he was thinking hard. "The council members do not see it that way," he said. "Many of them are calling for immediate action against Earth. They believe it is only a matter of time before humanity shows its true nature." Elena felt a chill of fear. "What kind of action?" she asked. "Some want to quarantine your solar system," Thymel admitted. "Others want to strike first before humans can build a military fleet. A few even suggest more permanent solutions." Elena realized that her mistake had put all of humanity in danger. The galaxy's fear of humans had been building for years. Her incident in the council chamber might be the excuse some aliens needed to attack Earth. "There must be something I can do," Elena said. "Some way to show the council that humans are not a threat." "Perhaps," Thymel said. "But it will not be easy. Fear makes people do terrible things, even usually peaceful species. When the council reconvenes tomorrow, you will face questions from aliens who want to prove that humans are monsters. Krath added, some council members are already reviewing human entertainment broadcasts. They have found your movies about war and violence. They think these show the true human nature. Elena laughed, but there was no humor in it. They are watching human war movies and using them to judge all humans? To them, the fact that humans make entertainment about violence proves that you enjoy it, Thymel explained. They do not understand that fiction is different from reality. Elena sat back down on the bed. The problem was even bigger than she had thought. The aliens did not just fear human abilities. They misunderstood human motivations completely. What would happen if I asked to speak to the council again? Elena asked. Impossible, Krath said immediately. Security protocols forbid it. You are classified as an uncontrolled Deathworlder. No direct contact with council members. Elena looked at both aliens carefully. But you are here, she pointed out. You are talking to me. Thymel's feathers changed color again. We are here unofficially, she admitted. Many council members wanted to have you sent back to Earth immediately. Others wanted to study you like a dangerous animal. We convinced them to let us interview you first, Krath said. We wanted to understand what happened before making any decisions about humanity's future. Elena saw her chance. Then help me understand them, she said. Teach me how to show the council that humans can be trusted. Thymel and Krath looked at each other. Elena could not read their expressions, but she sensed that they were having some kind of silent conversation. Finally, Thymel spoke. There might be a way, she said slowly, but it would be very dangerous for all of us. If we are caught, we could lose our positions. You could make the situation much worse. What do you mean? Elena asked. Krath's eyes grew brighter. Individual meetings, he said. Not with the full council, but with small groups. Informal conversations where aliens can ask you questions directly. Elena felt a spark of hope. Would they agree to that? Some might, Thymel said. The curious ones. The ones who want to understand rather than just fear. But you would have to convince them one by one that humans are not the monsters they believe you to be. Elena stood up again, feeling more confident than she had since the incident. I will do whatever it takes, she said. Humanity deserves a chance to prove itself. Krath nodded slowly. Then we will try to arrange some meetings. But remember, Ambassador, you will get no second chances. If you make another mistake, the galaxy will never trust humans again. As Thymel and Krath left the detention center, Elena felt both hope and fear. She had one more chance to save humanity's future in the galaxy. She just hoped she would not mess it up again. Over the next 3 days, Elena met with small groups of aliens in her comfortable detention room. Thymel and Krath had secretly arranged the meetings, risking their careers to give humanity one last chance. The first group was the Ethereals, the same aliens Elena had tried to protect. They floated into the room inside protective bubbles, still afraid of the dangerous human. Their glass-like wings trembled as they spoke. Why did you risk yourself to save us? Asked their speaker, a being named Shimmer. We are strangers to you. Your species gains nothing from protecting us. Elena had prepared for this question. On Earth we have a saying, she explained. We are all connected. When someone is in danger, it does not matter if they are human or alien. What matters is that they need help. She pulled out her data pad and showed them recordings from Earth. Images of humans rescuing animals from floods. Pictures of people helping strangers during earthquakes. Videos of humans protecting children who were not even their own. Humans have learned that protecting others makes us stronger, Elena said. When we work together, we can survive anything. The Ethereals watched the recordings with wonder. They had never seen beings risk their lives for strangers. In their culture, each individual was precious and protected above all else. But humans die so easily, Shimmer said. We have studied your biology. You live such short lives. Why waste them helping others? Elena smiled. Maybe because our lives are short, we understand how valuable life is. Every moment matters. Every person matters. The second group was the Crystalline Collective. They entered the room as a cluster of living gems that rang like bells when they moved. Their speaker was a tall crystal being whose body reflected rainbow light. Human Elena, the crystal being said, we have analyzed your movement during the incident. The mathematics involved were extraordinarily complex. How did you calculate trajectory and momentum so quickly? Elena laughed. I did not calculate anything, she said. I just saw where the drone was going and knew where I needed to be. The crystals chimed in confusion. But the equations require advanced processing. No organic mind should be able to solve them so quickly. Elena thought about how to explain human intuition to beings who lived by logic and mathematics. Humans do not always think with numbers, she said. Sometimes we think with feelings and instincts. She showed them examples of human art and music. Paintings that captured emotions rather than reality. Songs that told stories about love and loss. Poems that used words to create beauty instead of just sharing information. Your mathematics are perfect, Elena told the crystals. But humans have learned that not everything important can be measured. Sometimes the most powerful forces are the ones you cannot count. The Crystal Collective spent hours studying human art. They found it chaotic and illogical, but also strangely beautiful. They began to understand that humans solved problems in ways that pure logic could never achieve. The third group was the most challenging. The Saurak were the warrior species of the galaxy, reptile-like aliens with scales and sharp teeth. They had come to judge whether humans were potential allies or future enemies. Their leader was named General Thos. He had scars from many battles and eyes like yellow diamonds. He did not waste time with pleasantries. Human, he said, we have studied your military history. You have been fighting wars for thousands of years. You have built weapons that could destroy worlds. Are you here to conquer us? Elena met his stare without flinching. General Thos, she said, humans fight when we must. But we prefer to build rather than destroy. She showed him recordings of human cities, hospitals where the sick were healed, schools where children learned, parks where families played together, farms where food was grown to feed the hungry. Every human weapon was built to defend these places, Elena explained. We do not fight because we love war. We fight because we love peace. General Thos studied the images carefully. But you are so good at war, he said. Your tactics, your weapons, your warrior spirit, they are beyond what most species could achieve. Elena nodded. Earth taught us to be strong, she admitted. But strength without purpose is just destruction. Humans learn to use our strength to protect what we love. The general was quiet for a long time. Finally, he spoke again. There are rumors, he said slowly, of threats beyond the galaxy's borders. Ancient machines that destroyed civilizations long ago. Hostile forces that could return someday. If these threats are real, the galaxy might need warriors like humans. Elena felt a spark of hope. Maybe she could find a way to turn humanity's fearsome reputation into something positive. Each group of aliens left the detention center with new thoughts about humans. Word began to spread through the station that the dangerous Deathworlder was not what she seemed. Some aliens remained afraid, but others grew curious. A few even began to think that humans might be valuable allies rather than dangerous enemies. On the morning of the fourth day, Council Speaker Thymal and Chief Security Officer Krath returned to Elena's room. Both aliens looked nervous but determined. The Council has agreed to hear you speak again, Thymal announced. But there are conditions. You will be kept in a containment field. Any sudden movement will result in immediate detention. And if the aliens are not convinced, humanity will be banned from galactic space forever. Elena felt the weight of her species' future on her shoulders. I understand, she said. When do I speak? In 1 hour, Krath replied. And Elena. This time there can be no mistakes. As Elena prepared for her second chance, she threw away her carefully written diplomatic speech. The aliens had already heard enough pretty words about peace and cooperation. It was time to tell them the truth about humans. When Elena entered the council chamber again, the security was even tighter than before. She was surrounded by energy fields and weapons. Every alien watched her like she might explode at any moment. But Elena also noticed changes. Some aliens leaned forward with curiosity instead of fear. A few even seemed excited to hear what she would say. Elena stepped up to the speaking platform and looked around at all the watching aliens. She took a deep breath and spoke from her heart. Members of the Galactic Council, she began, you are right to fear us. A murmur of surprise ran through the chamber. This was not what anyone expected her to say. Humans are dangerous, Elena continued. We evolved on a world that tried to kill us every single day. We learned to fight because we had to fight to survive. We became strong because anything weak died quickly on Earth. Elena's voice grew stronger as she spoke. But you have made one mistake in your studies of humanity. You have focused on our capacity for destruction and missed our greatest achievement." She gestured toward the repaired area where the drone had fallen. "When I saw that drone falling toward the ethereals, I did not think about showing off human abilities. I did not think about the political implications. I thought about innocent people who needed help." Elena's eyes swept across the chamber, meeting the gaze of aliens on dozens of platforms. "That is what humans do. We see problems and we solve them. We see threats and we stop them. We see suffering and we end it." Her voice filled the chamber with conviction. "You have spent so much time studying our capacity for war that you have missed our greatest strength. We learned to direct that capacity toward building instead of destroying." Elena paused and let her words sink in. "Every human instinct that makes us dangerous also makes us the galaxy's fiercest protectors." She pulled up holographic displays showing Earth's history. Not the wars and weapons the aliens had studied, but the other side of human nature. Images of humans rescuing earthquake victims, videos of people protecting endangered animals, stories of humans who gave their lives to save strangers. "For thousands of years, humans have been learning the same lesson over and over," Elena said. "Strength without compassion is worthless. Power without purpose is empty. The only victories that matter are the ones that make life better for everyone." Elena looked directly at General Thoss. "You mentioned ancient threats beyond the galaxy's borders," she said. "Things that might return someday to threaten all of us." The chamber grew very quiet. Not all aliens knew about the old dangers, but those who did understood what Elena was suggesting. "There are things out there in the dark between stars that would terrify even the bravest among you," Elena said. "Ancient machines that destroyed entire civilizations. Hostile entities that see all organic life as a disease to be cured. Cosmic forces that could end everything we have built." Elena's voice grew calm but determined. "When those threats return, and they will return, you will need someone crazy enough to stand between the galaxy and destruction. You will need someone from a death world who thinks impossible odds just make things interesting." She spread her arms wide, encompassing the entire chamber. "You need humans." Elena stepped back from the podium and waited. The chamber was completely silent for almost a minute. Then slowly, discussions began on different platforms. Elena could not hear what the aliens were saying, but she could see the change in their body language. Fear was being replaced by thoughtfulness. Terror was giving way to consideration. The debate lasted for hours. Elena stood quietly in her containment field, letting the aliens work through their fears and concerns. Some species argued passionately against trusting humans.